Hey everyone, welcome back. Hope you're having a fantastic day so far. So next month we are once again facing a possible government shutdown, which has a lot of people worrying whether or not their Social Security check will continue to go out on a timely basis. So we're going to be covering that and how that may or may not affect the on-time payments for Social Security. But before we go ahead and dive into the main content of today's video, if you wouldn't mind helping me out real quickly by just giving this video a like, that just helps out with the good old YouTube algorithm, and also consider subscribing to my channel if you have not already. Okay, so the deadline to pass all 12 appropriations bills is coming up next month on September 30th. And if you want to know how many of them they have passed so far, well, out of 12, they have passed one. So 1 out of 12 so far. And right now they are both on recess. So according to Axios, right now, the House is actually not going to come back until September 5th, and then they will be in session for 17 days through September 30th. And then the Senate is going to be returning the week of September 12th, and they are going to be in session for just 12 days. So they don't really have a lot of time here. Now, thankfully, they can do something by passing something called like a continuing resolution or a stopgap funding bill, which basically allows the government to keep functioning before they pass like the real thing. This is something that they've actually used many times in the past and more than likely is going to be used once again. However, we do have some lawmakers saying that yes, we might actually end up having a government shutdown, which unfortunately, has a lot of people worrying whether or not their Social Security payments will continue to go out on a timely basis. Will they miss it? Will it be late by like a week? Will it be late by a couple weeks? If you remember earlier on this year, Social Security checks were possibly going to be delayed by maybe a week or two if they were unable to raise the debt ceiling. So once again, at the end of September, this scare is here once again. So according to NBC News, Congress moves towards a short-term funding bill to quell fears of a shutdown. So Speaker Kevin McCarthy told House Republicans on a conference call this week that he believes Congress will have to pass a short-term government funding bill to avoid a shutdown this fall, two sources with knowledge told NBC News. The remarks reflect a growing recognition that Congress doesn't have enough time to reach a full-year funding deal before money runs out on September 30th. Lawmakers are on a month-long August recess and return in September, just a few weeks before the deadline. On Wednesday, Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer said he met recently with McCarthy and agreed to pursue a stopgap bill, often called a continuing resolution or CR. Now I'm going to stop here real quickly to say it sure is interesting how they have pretty much more of a motivation to fund certain things or certain areas of government. But when it comes to Social Security, keeping benefits as they are 10 years from now, or even increasing benefits, some politicians just don't have the same motivation to do so, to help out ordinary Americans receiving Social Security, which as is just isn't enough to get by in these times. Now, the article goes on to say that Schumer said that Speaker McCarthy and I met a few weeks back and we agreed we should do what's called a CR. In other words, a congressional resolution where you just extend the existing funding for a few months so we could work this out. And I thought that was a good sign, but I would say this: our Republican colleagues in the House need to follow the lead of their Republican colleagues in the Senate and work in a bipartisan way. So it looks like they may be having like a short-term funding bill happening here, but we do have some House Republicans or, House politicians saying that we may in fact have a government shutdown. So Representative Tony Gonzalez, not to be confused with the football player, said that I just got off a member call. It's clear President Biden and Speaker McCarthy want a government shutdown, so that's what Congress will do after we return in September. Everyone should plan accordingly. So according to him, they are going to have a government shutdown and they're not going to have this short-term funding bill. So what if Tony Gonzalez is right here? What if we do, in fact, have a government shutdown? And where does that leave Social Security? Like I mentioned earlier on this year, we had that scare where if they did not raise the debt ceiling, it was very possible that the checks of Social Security on-time payments might actually be delayed. But what would happen if there was a government shutdown? Would the checks still continue to go out on time? Would they be delayed by 1 week, 2 weeks, a month? How long would they be suspended for? Well, fortunately, since Social Security and their payments have already been authorized by Congress, it does not need some type of annual approval. So yes, these will continue to go out in time. There's almost no chance whatsoever that they will be delayed. So thankfully, we don't have to plan accordingly or save up or have any type of plan in place, because absolutely, yes, they should continue to go out on a timely basis. Now, if you're looking for something like a new Social Security card, if you lost your card, for example, or you need to get a new one, for that, there would be delay. But as far as payments go, whether you're receiving retirement benefits, SSI or SSDI, you would continue to receive your payment on the usual day that you would receive them. So thankfully, even if the government does shut down on September 30th, if they're not able to fund all these appropriations bills and all the different sides of government, you would continue to receive your Social Security payments on time. So yes, thankfully that is the case. We don't have to worry about our politicians not doing their jobs in Washington. Now, in some other news, of course, we also have the first Republican primary debate. That's coming up next week on August 23rd. So that's going to be something definitely to look out on. Now, it's questionable whether or not the former president Donald Trump will show up to the debate. A lot of people are saying that he should. Some people are saying that he shouldn't. I personally think that he should. If he's going to be running for president as a Republican, he should show up to the debate and square off against the other candidates. And then, of course, we have the first caucus coming up for the Republican Party in January. That's going to be on January 15th in Iowa. As far as the polling goes in Iowa so far, expectedly, of course, Donald Trump is the clear favorite by 27 points. Second place comes Ron DeSantis. So it's pretty much Trump, DeSantis, Scott Ramaswamy, and then pretty much everyone else. And that can be said about, pretty much nationwide, where Trump is also nearly a 40-point favorite across the board. DeSantis has been slipping a lot in the polls. He was considered he might be able to go up against Trump and possibly beat him. But since then, he has really just fallen off. And as far as the general election goes, if we do end up having that rematch of Donald Trump versus Joe Biden, right now Joe Biden is a small favorite in all the polls across the board, whether it's Fox News, Quinnipiac, Marist, YouGov, New York Times. Biden is a favorite of anywhere between 1, 2, 3 points. So definitely will be interesting to keep an eye out on all of that. And it looks like, once again, we are going to have that rematch of Donald Trump versus Joe Biden. Let me know who you think should win in the comment section below. And let me know if you'd like to see perhaps other candidates other than Donald Trump and other than Joe Biden on the Democratic side running for president in this primary, or are you perfectly happy with, once again, a rematch of Joe Biden versus Donald Trump? Let me know what your thoughts and comments are below. But that's all the news that we have for today's video. I certainly hope that you enjoyed and found value out of it. If you did, again, I would greatly appreciate if you could give this video a like. Consider subscribing to my channel if you have not already, and I will see you in the next video.